Welcome to Tiny Rails, the fun little game with a train. And I'm somewhere in the high 60s in episode numbers of this game. A game I didn't think I'd get past episode 20, to be honest, because I didn't think it would be this interesting and keep me this occupied. I say this on the day that Cook Serve Delicious 3 has just been released, so I'm going to spend some time with that very shortly. However, that's my train going past. Now, I'm in the middle of the Oceania quests in this game, where I'm meant to be constructing some kind of prison cell for Blackwell, who was one of my early rivals, then transport him from Russia to Oceania, and there's meant to be one of my other rivals, some lady from Europe, I think Gretchen might have been her name, who's employed a thief to stop me doing so. And I should be coming in, at this point, to a Russian station, where I'm going to have somebody weld all the components I bought and build the prison cage, I guess, and then I assume I have to go somewhere and pick up Blackwell. But if I look at the wonderful... that's the one. Oceania Chapter 1-11. So this is the 11th part of the Oceania quests. I don't know how many there are in total, but it's going to take me a little while to finish. So I don't know what's going to happen for this episode, because if I show you the map, I'll zoom out slightly, I'm all the way up here. There's nothing around, so it's going to take me a while to get anywhere else. In between the last episode and this episode, I did take a detour down to, where was it? This area. And I went to the Middle East Lower factory and dumped a load of my resources in there to try and get enough to build that car, and also the Africa East factory, or the one of the factories, I think it was the Africa East factory, where I built this car. And I sold a load of cargo to various places along the way as part of the detour, and as part of that, the 3 interchangeable cars on the front of my train, the Elven Archery, the Frontier Passenger, and the Rusty Traveller, and now, because of all the travelling I've done to get to this point, are now all at level 2, and I've got a way to go before they're level 3, and then they get replaced by new and different cars. So here we come into Norilsk to continue the quest. I'll give it a burst of speed so I get there that little bit faster. Even though it's night time, there's not a lot to see anyway. As you may notice, I have 1.5 million, just over. By the way of cash, I've actually managed to get back over 1 million because I spent most of my cash buying a depot and various other things. Okay, we're running into Dimitri. Hank, my brother, what brings you up here? Yeah, it's a bit out of the way, mate. Hank. Oh, a secret mission of international importance? The usual. Ha, is that all? What have you got? Do you think you could weld us a cage made out of magnum metals or magnum materials? Sure, I could, but it's going to cost you, brother. Go get me some Russian spring water, and by the time you get back, I'll have all this together. Very well, we'll be back soon enough. Safe travels, brother. Wonderful. So now, I've got to buy Russian spring water from Saransk, somewhere in Russia. Well, let me just check what's in the market here. I actually want some of this. Quite a lot of it, actually. And now I need to find this Saransk place. Any guesses? Oh, all the way over here. Why am I not surprised? Okay, I'm guessing it's that 10 bottles of Russian spring water. So, let's set the marker in that general direction. Now, once you get out of these long stretches, it's not that far. However, I've got 1,200 miles to go to the next station. So it's definitely going to take me a little while to get there. Let me see. So, yes, in my depot currently, I've got it down to under 3,200 bits of cargo in my depot, mainly because I used most of the copper, the steel, the iron and the wood for those factories, which I mentioned a little while ago. So clearing those out, did a load of depot emptying, plus I sold some oranges, some wheat, some cooking oil at various stations and a few other bits and pieces. My depot is filled with a variety of stuff, most of it in not particularly large amounts, and pretty much everything that has no current demand is something I use as building materials for stations. Oh, looks like I'm being stopped by an obstruction. But all this has a use somewhere in the world, which I just haven't necessarily been near those places recently. And as you can see, I've got quite a lot. Oh, I have one thing at the bottom there that I have no use for. And plus everything on my train. But I haven't visited this part of Russia for a while, so I'm picking up some stuff which is useful in Africa, amongst other places. And some of it's useful in Southeast Asia West, which I'm going to have to visit at some point and spend some time dealing with the cargo requirements of there. Let me collect the money for the jobs I've just completed. And if you're doing mileage style jobs, this is the part of the world to be in, because the distance between stations just makes completing mileage jobs so easy. Yeah, more collect cargo and more mileage. I'll be back up to 10 active jobs. Ah, good. Daylight is dawning. The day is dawning and I can see my train in all its glorious colour. It's a very weird looking engine. It's like a big teapot. It's one I picked up in the Middle East for completing, I think, the Middle East lower area. But yeah, I can go back to my caboose. All these cargo cars are the same as they were before. In the last episode, when I explained the configuration of my train. So let's have a burst of speed, as I've got a bit of a distance to go. So what else is happening? As I've mentioned, CookServe Delicious 3 is out. I enjoyed CookServe Delicious 1. I really enjoyed CookServe Delicious 2 when it took me a while to get into it. I now have CookServe Delicious 3, and I have installed it, I haven't started it yet. So I'll see what that's like. But hopefully it'll be as much fun as the first two CookServe Delicious games. I just listened to an episode of The Unbelievable Truth, the latest one, which I think came out Monday on BBC Radio. If you've got BBC's iPlayer, you can get the comedy shows from BBC Radio, and The Unbelievable Truth and the John Finnemore's Souvenir Programme are two of the best to listen to. They are absolutely hilarious in my opinion. There again, my opinion is just my opinion. I've actually caught up with the last episode that aired of Death in Paradise, another great TV show. Well, I say another great TV show, a great TV show. I hadn't mentioned one before that, so it really can't be considered another one. Although there are other great TV shows, so depends how you want to parse that sentence. There's a new episode of that coming out tomorrow evening, England time. So tomorrow afternoon, my time. Which reminds me, I didn't actually check to see what the Manchester United Man City score was today. In the Carabao Cup, I think it was, they were playing. I must do that before I retire for the evening. And I can't think what else is going on in the world. Well, I can. There's the Donald Trump impeachment trials going on. Brexit's about to happen on Friday. The French police and the French fire brigade and paramedics or whatever are fighting in the streets. Generally, the world is a strange place. I believe Vladimir Putin is about to declare himself supreme ruler of Russia. as he becomes president for life, and he's going to change his title to Supreme Ruler. Not that man has an ego in any way, shape or form. So there's a whole lot going on in the world. Oh, the coronavirus, however you pronounce that one, is happening in the, was it Wuhan province of China, is where it seemed to have originated, and there's mass panic in air travel in general, and people coming into various countries and spreading it around the world and wiping out the human race. You know, minor little things like that. They're still going on in the world. But as it hasn't come near me, it hasn't affected me yet. My family, or one of my family, might be coming over to visit me sometime shortly. They seem to have a desire to come and visit, though why they want to visit this part of the United States in the middle of winter is beyond me, because normally whenever I try and do anything at this time of year and make plans, that's when a blizzard happens. Normally every time work decides to send me to another location, whether it be to a different office or do some training, or there's a work with a different part of the team, or go to a client site and do an install or help a client with software, that's when a blizzard hits. But also when I want to go someplace during the middle of winter, that's when a blizzard hits. Or if someone comes to visit me in the middle of the winter, that's normally when a blizzard hits. I don't know if it's me, or it's just, I'm just that unlucky. Have a burst of speed. Yeah, what else is going on in the world? Kobe Bryant died this week. A helicopter crash. I have no comment to make on that one. Oh, Nicholas Parsons died. I think it was Nicholas Parsons, or was it the guy that did Just a Minute on the BBC radio? And oh god, yep, my brain's fried. I can't remember. I was pretty sure it was Nicholas Parsons. That's his name. Very amusing guy. Very intelligent, very amusing. Just doesn't mean I can remember people's names. I've always struggled to remember people's names, to be bluntly honest. Yep, Nicholas Parsons. That's the guy's name. Just a Minute. It's a vaguely amusing BBC show, but not one of my favourites. Doesn't mean I didn't appreciate Nicholas Parsons and how intelligent and how amusing he could be at times. I think I did say, I did mention Brexit's about to happen, I think on Friday. And depending on which part of my family and which part of my friends I talk to, I get entirely differing views on how the world is working with Brexit. How can I put this nicely? The less tolerant side of my family are celebrating. They think Boris Johnson is great, and basically all foreigners can now be shipped off to wherever, somewhere else in the world that's not near them. And the more tolerant side of my friends and family think Brexit's a disaster. It's going to be an absolute terrible thing for Britain, and the world is going to be a strange and scary place for a while. And there's those that are somewhere in the middle of those two views. So I don't know firsthand. I do enjoy when I talk to my friends and family back home. I do enjoy discussing Brexit, because to me it's very, very far away. Therefore I can point and laugh in the same way that they tend to look at me in America, mention Donald Trump and point and laugh. So differing opinions depending on distance, I think, and how funny something is. It is definitely different. I'm currently making bets with colleagues and friends, normally about $20 a time, that Donald Trump is going to win the 2020 election, working on the principle that if he loses, well, that may be a reasonable, decent thing. May not be, depend who wins. But if he wins, I get 20 bucks, and if he loses, well, I get a new president to endure. So there's really no downside to me on that bet, whereas most of my colleagues who are definitely not Donald Trump supporters, those that take the bet, are going to lose two ways. If Donald wins, then they have to give me 20... Oh, let me... Oops. Yeah. I meant to do that. I want all that stuff. Yes, I'm saying if Donald wins, so yeah, I don't mind if to get a different president I have to pay them 20 bucks. Whereas if I win, it means they get a president that they currently don't like. Me, I can take him or leave him, it doesn't matter to me one or the other, I'm not American. And I also get 20 bucks out of it, so it's it's fun to me. Yeah, the joys of being British in America is I can't vote, but therefore I can't be blamed for whoever's in power. But I can take the outsider's point of view, as I tend to read news from around the world. Like there was a news article the other day of Hillary Clinton saying that she thinks she could beat Donald Trump this time, and so Bernie Sanders is terrible, and so basically being nasty about Bernie Sanders. And so my American friends and colleagues who don't tend to read the news that from around the world didn't see that one, so I happily pointed it out to them, and the expressions on their faces when I said Hillary Clinton might be running for president again, it was priceless. Yes, I enjoy winding up people, especially Americans who have a sense of humour. Well, I enjoy winding up Americans who don't have a sense of humour for that matter as well, but they might shoot me. So I tend to be more cautious in who I upset these days, because I don't want to get shot for excessive sarcasm. Which is probably what will end up, and it'll be on my tombstone. Dead from excessive sarcasm. Yes, this is not the most thrilling episode I've ever done of Tiny Rails. As travelling through Russia, which is why I haven't spent a lot of time recording a lot of my travels through Russia or China, because it's a lot of wide open spaces with not a lot to see and not a lot to do. As I say, I haven't been in this part of Russia for a while, so... And of course, let me guess, once I get to this place... Is that the place? Saransk, and pick up this cargo, it's then going to send me back over to, is it Norilsk? Or Norilsk? I don't know how you pronounce the names of lots of places in Russia. Yes, it's one of my points of ignorance. I want a lot of this stuff. As I did mention, I haven't been back this way for quite a while, so there's a lot of this cargo that is actually useful that I just haven't been around collecting. Oh boy. So I've got another 500 odd miles to the next town. But yes, that's my concern now, is I go pick up this water, then I'm going to have to go all the way back up to the same place to meet Dmitri. Which, to put it politely, is a trek. I mean, it's nice I'm getting to pick up this cargo that I haven't seen for a while, and will actually use a lot of, well, I'll use pretty much all of it when I go near the appropriate stations. But as pretty much all the stations in Russia are either complete or almost complete with their cargo requirements, and I'll just show this. Like the next one coming up wanted iron, it's now got the iron. That one wanted honey, it's got it. That one wanted uranium, I did that. That one wanted honey, it got it. That one wants computer chips, which it hasn't got. This one wanted power leads, and that was there. And That's completed. And the one below that wants tomatoes, and that's part way done. I have a few tomatoes in my nearest depot. This one wants onions. That one wanted oranges, and it's done. That one wanted water. And I can look at most of Russia, apart from the ones that want computer chips. Oh, and tulips, apparently. Most of them are done just because it took a while, but the resources, for the most part, apart from whatever that is, I forget what that one is, which I haven't seen yet. Oh, that one's chickens. Yeah, but there's a large percentage of them are done because it was time consuming to actually do it, but I spent the time at one point. And the other side of this is now my wonderful 3 cars on the front have got almost 2,500 experience points at the 12,500 they need. Take the coal. I think that'll do. So, with a bit of luck, as I say, the distance, I'll zoom in a bit, distances aren't too bad between now and when I reach the actual Saransk. I will probably get there, pick up whatever it was, the Russian spring water, so the thing it wanted me to pick up, and I won't immediately turn around and go back. I'll end the episode and then go off, do some stuff, and next time I'll start the episode with the Russian spring water in my cargo and head into the place where Dimitri's doing his wonderful welding, Norilsk. That's the place. But I will probably spend some time using the cargo I've got in my depot to fulfill some cargo demands, just because, and I'll probably go out and collect a load more stuff that I need. But as I say, I need to spend some time in Southeast Asia West. I also need to spend a little more time in China and some time in Africa to just clear up a few odds and ends, so that the more cargo types there are that you can discard because you definitely don't need them, makes life so much easier, rather than trying to, when you run into a new station, see 6 different types of cargo. You try to remember which ones you need, where the places that you might need them, how likely it is you're liable to visit. Once you start reaching the point where I have with some cargoes that you just don't need it, you have no demand for it, you do tend to be a little more selective, or you can be a little more selective in the stuff you pick up, and therefore you don't fill your depot as fast, you don't fill your train as fast, and generally life is that little bit easier. Of course, every time you open up a new area, like I recently opened up Southeast Asia West, there you get either demands for cargo which you didn't think you're going to need anymore, or you get a whole new set of demands for cargo which you've never seen before, or a combination of both. I'll take that. Oh, it would help if I can hit the right button. And that. I'm starting to fill my train up. It's one of the reasons I need to go near a depot, just so I can empty my train. Now it looks like it needs a good clean and maintenance as well. Now I'm 2 stations away. And the next one's just coming up. Take the coal. I need a load of coal, a few hundred coal I think, for one of the stations in China, which is why I'm picking up coal. And I might as well clear out all these jobs that I've completed. The extra money. And then because I haven't done it for a while, I'm going to go visit the gumball machine. I meant to do that in the last episode, but then I forgot. Having mentioned I was going to go visit the gumball machine, I then completely forgot to do it. Now I'll see if I can find any new cars, because there's still a lot of cars in the gumball machine that I haven't seen. It's just the luck of the draw of whether or not they're going to come out anytime soon. So, gumball machine it is. Okay, it's expensive these days, but for 300,000 we will try a rare roll. And I'll get a Bohemian car. Not wonderful, but okay. I'll try another rare roll. This will cut into my finances. A taco car, I've got a few of those. Try a standard roll. An Old West food car, I've got at least a couple of those. And we'll try one more. A Behemoth passenger car, I've definitely got one of those. So that wasn't very successful. I have 4 new cars, just none of which are any different from the cars I had before. I'll take that. So, the last step in this episode, get to Saransk, pick up whatever it was Dimitri wanted, the Russian spring water, I think it was. And then be told to go back to where I came from to deliver it to Dimitri. And then, well, we'll see what happens. Let's have a burst of speed. I've still got 100 odd miles to go before I can pick up this cargo. Come into Saransk at 325 miles an hour. Well, we will. Yep, that's massive burst of speed just before I hit the platform. Okay, I need the 10 Russian spring water, and I can just about fit that on my train. Hank! Ah, the finest Russian spring water. Sophia, did you get a couple of extra bottles? Not often we make a pit stop for spring water, and the Russian stuff is my favourite. I have a soft spot for the Korean spring water, personally. Okay, we're discussing spring waters. Alrighty. Now, I really don't have much space. Oh, I can actually fit the coal on. Okay, so now I've completed that part of the quest. And now, as I suspected, make a stop at Norilsk, Russia. Well, before I terminate this episode, let me go pick up another couple of jobs. And let me set my destination to where is my nearest depot. Can't be that far away. Knew it wouldn't be that far away. Right. Oh. Didn't mean to zoom out that far. Right, that's what I meant to do. Okay. Right, well that's where I'm going to end this episode. Sorry it wasn't particularly scintillating in the actions I got to take, but it was a trip across Russia, and it completed 2 parts of the wonderful Oceania quest by getting to Norilsk, then Saransk. And yes, I know I'm probably pronouncing them horribly. Now, I'll leave the aluminium, I don't think I need too much of that. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed to one degree or another at least. And hopefully I'll see you down the track for more episodes of Tiny Rails in the near future. Cheerio for now.